Okay, hello Sergio. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you very
Uh,
much.
Maybe you can start a bit with introducing yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Sergio. I'm 33 years old. I'm living in Bucharest, and I'm a programmer, game developer slash entrepreneur.
Okay,
Yeah, in the computer gaming industry.
how did you start your business?
Uh, mm, let's say since I was a little kid, I like to create games. So I enjoy playing them, but I also try to understand how they are created, and that drove me to the passion for programming and also for games programming. And somewhere in high school, I started to create my first games, and then, long story short, after university and computer uh, computer graphics master where I meet lots of people. I attended uh, uh, a game jam where people gather together to create games in 24 hours. And there together with two friends, we saw that we have very good connections, and we started to make games together. And because um, we wanted to publish them on different platforms like Steam and mobile, iOS and Google Play, you need a legal entity. So that was back in 2015.
Okay,
So yeah, so uh, that's how we started. I never wanted like, okay, I want to create a business to create games. So first were the games. I wanted to create games, and the business came as a consequence to that. Yes, that was my approach, and I still believe in that. Like I think like an entrepreneur has to create something, and he's passionate in creating uh, products.
yeah.
Yeah, and let's say like money and business side of things uh, come later. So that's at least how I see it right now.
Okay, thank
Maybe
you.
that can change in the future, but that's my philosophy.
And how was it for you when you made this like this change, this switch to the entrepreneur side?
It was very exciting. Um, there are lots of unknowns that you don't even think about. Like, let's say you create a product, but then you have to marketing. Maybe you have to hire people. Uh, you have to promote it. Uh, and when you create a product, maybe you don't have all the skills necessary to create them. Like for my instance, in games, you need lots of art, music, uh, visual effects, all kind of stuff. And I believe that one simple man is very, very hard to do all by himself. So you also have to hire people at some point. And all of these things, yeah, it's very difficult first because you really don't know how to approach these things. Like there are some courses at university, like they tell you how to do it and that, but in real life it's a bit different. There are all sorts of situations, and you have to hit with your head against the wall until you succeeded. Yeah,
Yeah, I think in general, real life and university are two different scenarios, and in real life, you have so much more challenges than you expected.
yeah, yeah. We have a course on entrepreneurship at university. It was in my at the master, and um they always invited successful entrepreneurs from tech industry. And yeah, it was very eye-opening, like how they approach things, and uh, it's really inspiring. So at that point, I didn't have my business yet because I was focused only on doing games. But those people all already had like big companies, and they at some point you have to like manage people more than thinking on the product. So I believe like at some point you have to take this decision, like what you want to do. Maybe you have to lead the team into creating the product, or maybe you have to be on the technical side and let others to deal with people. So yeah, lots of unknown stuff, and uh, every I would say every day is a challenge, because you you have to pay salaries. Maybe tomorrow you have to do some marketing strategies, and in 2 weeks you have to do storylines, and it's very exciting because it's not very linear. Like you don't have a linear job. You have to do lots of stuff which are interconnected but very different. So
yeah, safe to
yeah,
say you cannot get bored.
yeah. And still at that course, we had innovation labs, if you know. It's from Politehnica University. It's yeah, and there I understood what investors want from the teams and the product, and how to approach investors and raise money for the product. So that's was really helpful, but you really start to see how difficult it is to raise money when you actually start doing that. So making pitches to investors, and they ask tricky questions on how do you want, what do you want to do with the money? Why do you want to raise money? And yeah, that was very difficult because we had investors at some point. But we also had the Kickstarter, so we raised money through crowdfunding, and that was difficult in other direction because you have to convince people to buy your product before it's even finished. And what I learned from that is, okay, if people, because we first did the Kickstarter, we also raised some money through different grants from gaming industry, and then we asked for investors. And it was much more easier for us because when the investors saw that there is potential and people are interested, they saw that through Kickstarter, it was really much more easy to convince them to invest in us. And we also wanted to raise money before Kickstarter, and we went to conferences and made pitches, and was really hard because people don't trust in you at first, especially when you are in the beginning, because you don't. It's not about experience. It's about you don't have the necessary. Maybe you don't have the necessary skills, I believe, and your team didn't have any products before, which the investor can say, oh, I know these guys, they are great, I believe in them, and I know that I can give them money to create the product they want and maybe scale it. So all those things together, it's, if you put them together and you think about it, it's really difficult in a way.
Yeah.
But if you take it step by step, it's more manageable.
Do you think it's important to have a good level of education in order to start a business?
Yes, I believe education is really important because it gives you the foundations of different things. And besides education, you have like you speak in general or university or master. What how it's
Can be both. Can be like academic education, but also life education.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both because academic it lays out the foundations, but it also gives you lots of connections, like your friends from there, teachers, assistants. Um, so it's important to have like that entourage,
Yeah.
group of friends. Yeah, and life educations are well. I mean, it depends on the model because like if you want to be an entrepreneur in industry like I don't want to sound rude, but something like having a store or uh, like a boutique. I don't think you need like 3 degrees in economy. But if it's something more like in tech industry or banking or fintech, I think it's important to understand how economy works, how uh, uh, people work together and stuff like that. So yeah, in a nutshell, it's you should have education. Yeah, I think it's really important.
What support did you receive during your process of creating your business?
From parents or
Can be any. It can be friends, other businesses, money wise.
yeah, so support. We had some. So when we started, we didn't have any support because it was a hobby. We did those games besides our jobs, our regular jobs, and our like I said before, our scope wasn't to build money or hire people at first. It was just to do games and have a legal form of entity to, let's say, to publish the games on stores. But when we wanted to do bigger projects, then the things change, and of course you need money. So uh, yeah, it's like I said, we did a Kickstarter, which uh, helped us to raise money. We received some grants. Like there are in our industry, there are organizations that can help you with that. Like you pitch the game, they see some potential in there, and they can give you money for that. Not a lot of them, but it's important, especially to give you motivation in the beginning, and then from investors and with friends and family. It's a little hard at the beginning. They don't understand what you want to do there, and uh, I can say that they also don't trust in your project that much. But in the end, if they see that you are devoted to that, they will help with not with money, but with motivation and encourage you to do what you believe. But yeah, in the beginning, when when they see that you are struggling, uh, they will tell you maybe you get a job or it's better to do that because look, it's very hard and yeah, but that depends from person to person. If you are stubborn and you believe in yourself, you don't really need motivation from outside, like family.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah, depends how you are as a person. Yeah.
How was during the pandemic and the COVID for you?
Oh, it was actually good for us because so when the pandemic hit, we had a small office at Victoriei Piață.
Square.
Square. Okay. Yeah, at Victoria Square, and we saw that the authorities didn't allow us uh, to exit our homes, and we decided that hey, that money we can save it and we can hire people, and we also saw that our productivity increased because we had deadlines and all sort of issues. And for example, we had to travel to our office a lot. Like I had to travel each day like 2 hours, and I used that time to focus more on the business. Let's say like that. Yeah, so it was beneficial for us to close it, and we worked very good remotely. Yeah, it was very good.
Okay. I'm happy you were not affected by it.
No, not at all. It was emotionally because we saw at news what happens, but business wise was really good. Yeah, and also we saw a boom in this industry with technology because everybody was staying at home and playing games or watching TV. So that gave a boom to the whole industry. Now, right now, because people started to go outside, we see a decline.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what does success mean to you? How would you define it?
Success, I see it like when you create a product and you are proud of it. I never saw success through money or having lots of employees or stuff like that. For me, it's um having an idea, working on it, and see that people enjoy the product. Of course, you want to see like your game is played by thousands of players, so that can mean a success. And money and success, I believe, in general, is a consequence to having a good product in the end. And to have a good product, you have to have a good idea and a great team. Yes, so that's how I see it. It's important to not think in having success like, okay, I'm seeing myself like a successful person. I don't think it works like that. Maybe for someone works, but I think you have to believe in your product and in yourself. So the rest will come later. That's how I think it should happen for all entrepreneurs.
Okay. So what would you say is the most important thing in a business, in your opinion?
In a business, I think the team, it's probably the most important thing to have in a business. Without the team, it's really difficult to succeed, especially if it's a bigger project. You can have a small project by your own, and you don't need lots of resources in that case. And I mean resources like financial resources and human resources. But if it's a big product, then the team is super important. And yeah, but besides from that, it's how you are you as a person. Like you have to be motivated even if there are tougher times, because otherwise you demotivate your people, and that's not good. Yeah, but yeah, the team. I think like you can have a great idea, but if you don't have a team, you cannot create that idea. So That's how I see. Yeah. It's the idea, the production, and then the release. So if you don't have the team to create it, I don't see how that idea can come to life.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And if you would be able to go back with the knowledge that you have right now, would you do something different?
Yes, there are lots of mistakes that we did, especially because we didn't have experience. So I think what I would do different is to fail faster with some ideas. Uh, if you don't see potential in, let's say you have an idea, you prototype it, and then you see if you test it on people, if people actually enjoy it or not. And if you stay too much on one idea, maybe that's not a good sign. So that's lots of entrepreneurs say that you should fail fast. Like, and one other thing is that a product should not have a big development cycle. Like, it's better to create a game in 1 year than staying 3 or 4 years, especially, because the industry changes, the market changes, people change in 4 years. So like let's say 5 years ago, Instagram was the main social media, but now it's TikTok. And what else can be in 4 years, And so if you develop your product faster and give it to people faster, you can see the results and take the decisions from there. So what we did in the past, we stood too much time with one idea before showing to someone, or that kind of stuff. Yeah, that I think it's the biggest mistake we did. And eventually, when you manage to have people working for you and or with you, that eventually translates to losing money, because every day you have some expenses, and because you have to pay salaries, or I don't know, office space, or so that's what I think I would do different, like spending less time on prototypes.
If someone would want to start developing in your industry and they are completely new to this, what advices would you give to them?
I think the previous one, like fail fast, build something, show it to people, see their reactions, and if they don't like, move it on. Because if people don't like it from the beginning, there is something that doesn't work there. So don't over attach to your idea or the products, because it might not work in 99% of the cases. Of course, you can model it, but if you don't see that reaction, like, okay, this is going to be a hit or something like that, you'll create a mediocre product which will not give you the amount of revenue you want, and so on. So that's my advice. Yeah.
What are some of your future plans?
Oh, future plans. Right now, we are a bit in a hiatus with the company, because after releasing the game, we had some struggles. Let's say some we were scapă.
You can say it in Romanian,
Nu că e în engleză și îmi scapă în engleză. Am fost prea obosiți după release. Burnout. We were burnout, yes, from the development of the game, and the revenue we predicted it wasn't there. So basically, we had to do some layoffs and find other projects in other places. Yeah. So right now, I have some projects that I'm working on, but not like I don't have something to release in the immediate future. Yeah. So I'm going with the flow right now.
Yeah, that's good. How does your typical work day looks like?
Oh, typical. I'm trying to do some sports in the morning, like jogging. I really enjoy it. And then I start working on my projects for 2 or 3 hours, and then I'm doing some for the actually contractors I have right now. So that's like 1 hour of sports, 3 hours working on my projects, and 8-9 hours to the contractors I have. Yeah, and in the evening maybe more sports because because I spend too much time like on the chair or in different shapes and positions, and that affects the health.
Yeah. And how do you manage stress?
Stress. Oh, it's really. Usually, I'm not that stressed out. I don't know. I have other things that create me stress. That gives me stressful situations, like flying, because I hate it. But yeah, when you have, I think when you have deadlines, you try to do everything in time, and sometimes happens to do overtime and work more. But if you plan it accordingly, it should be fine. So I never experienced that very high level of stress. Maybe excitement from when, because you have to release, you want to see people reactions, how many people will buy the game and stuff like that. But if you have stressful situations, like you don't have money to pay salaries or stuff like that, it never happened to me. So I heard it a lot of times, so it can happen, but I don't know how to respond to it because I'm trying to be pretty zen with everything.
Okay. So you said that in the past you had a burnout.
Yes.
And what did you learn from it? Or is there something that you are actively doing to not get to that point again?
So I think planning accordingly, trying to see in the future how what I don't know situations can appear in your project, and try to include them in your timeline of development. That can be very good. The burnout, it wasn't like we worked too much. It was because we spent a lot of time on the project, like 5 years. And it was a lot of time. And I saw that people became like not bored, but they wanted to do something else. At some point, like 5 years of development cycle was pretty long period. So people want to move on to something else. Yeah. So you don't have to be a perfectionist. I was like that in the past, but it doesn't have, your product doesn't have to be perfect from the beginning, especially in this industry with gaming. Of course, you have to do the best product you can, but if you have a small team, you have to prioritize things. So you can see what's the best features you want to have in the game or in your product. You want to mark them like top priority, and then smaller features. If you see that don't have time to complete them, you can cut them off. So it's, for example, in a game right now, I'm trying to think at the beginning and at the end, try to do those somehow to develop them. And after those are done, I know that I can cut from the middle how much I want. But it's important to see the end of the tunnel. What is the end? What is the objective for the player and for the gamers? And if you do that part in the beginning, you already have two important elements, and you can cut from the middle somehow. If you want, if it's real, if time is really critical. So that's at least what I learned from my mistakes.
Okay, so we reached my last question.
Okay.
And I will ask you, what are the biggest challenges in your industry?
Challenges. Let me think of it. I would say competition. There are lots of so right now it became less and less hard to develop games. We have lots of tools, and you see lots of people creating games by really small teams. And actually, stores like Steam and mobile and PlayStation and Xbox allow, let's say, games that are not that great, or there were not there is not that much effort put in them, because some people just want to release games because it's a nice idea, or I want to make lots of money, but it's not like that. It's and somehow they suffocate those platforms because every day 20 or 30 games are released on Steam. And actually right now it became more like, what is my game different from others to stay out from the crowd? Like, what people can see in my game, so it's different. Yeah, so I think competition, at least in this industry, it's very tough. And yeah, other big companies also have lot of money. Like, for example, in Witcher, if you know the game, Witcher, yeah, like the whole production was like $120 million, and half of it was only marketing. Yeah, so big companies put lots of money in showing their games, and of course, if you have a small studio, you don't have those resources, and everyone is fighting to grab people attention. Yeah. So yeah, competition, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was all from my side. Do you have any questions or something more to add?
Not really. It was very interesting. I hadn't had an interview for a lot, like in 1 or 2 years, so I had to think a bit on the questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for helping us, and I wish you good luck with your journey and everything.
Yeah. Thank you as well. Thank you for having me.